Hello, everyone. I'm Dirk Garner. I'm the artistic director and conductor of the Baldwin Wallace Bach Festival. We're here as the next part of our podcast series. We've heard from previous directors and faculty, and today I'm joined by three extraordinary alumni. Today via Zoom, we have with us Janet Archer, Patricia Ciancutti, and Jean Astrop, all from the class of 1957. Welcome, my friends. So I must say that of all the interviews I'm doing, it's this one that I've been looking forward to the most. And I hope that doesn't offend any of our other listeners out there, but your enthusiasm for this project and your energy for getting it done has really been meaningful to me, because in my mind it kind of encapsulates everything that this festival is about. It's our community and it's our people, and that we've all been brought together, and we continue to come together every year through this amazing music, and you really embody that, and I thank you for that. And furthermore, all of you are such terrific donors to the Bach Festival and to the Conservatory and to Baldwin Wallace University. You endow scholarships. You were part of the Steinway campaign that made the Conservatory an all Steinway school, and you continue to give, and you continue to give back to the Conservatory and to the school. And our whole community thanks you, but I thank you personally for all that you do. It is so meaningful and so important. So what a great way to start. What a great way to get rolling. So you worked with George Poinar, and I'd love for you to share some stories that you remember about his work and about working with him.
I will only say that his particular genius was that he didn't suffer fools. He really didn't bother with anybody who was less than what he expected of them. And he wasn't hesitant about telling them. And I can give you a short case in point. When I entered school as a freshman, I was 17. And he called me to his studio and asked me if I would come audition for the Tuesday night rehearsal on that coming Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. So I said yes. I didn't know I had a choice. And I did go. And the following week, there was a young woman who had come to us from Poland, whose name was Wanda Lewandowski, something like that. And she was 27 years old, had already done a lot of concertizing, and was very accomplished. So he had her play this following Tuesday night. And at the end of the evening, he said to her in front of everyone there, "I do not need your services. Miss Sirigliano will be accompanying us." And I felt so sorry for her, because she was truly more accomplished than I was. She had had all this experience, was older, and she just burst into tears and ran out of the room. And then she gave a recital and stayed long enough to give a recital, and then she left school. And that's the kind of damage he could do. Yeah. And he said to her, "There's a difference between playing very well and accompanying." And he said, "There is an art to accompanying, and you don't have it." So I'm telling you, that's how frank he was. But then once we were friends forever. I played for all his students' lessons, all their recitals, and we just became wonderful friends.
It's a special relationship.
It was.
The best accompanists I've had throughout my career are still some of my dearest friends, and now I'm married to one of them. So my wife is my most common accompanist now.
Because I wasn't in the orchestra as Jean was, and didn't accompany as Patricia did, I didn't have that close-up connection with him, but his reputation alone, everyone in the conservatory knew how exacting and how demanding he was. And frankly, I was afraid of him. So, but of course, I was just in the chorus as an organ major. I didn't get to participate as these two did. But I'm interested in hearing what Jean has to say about Mr. Poinar.
Well, first of all, the Bach Festival, that was the most meaningful part of my college education. It was fantastic. And I feel very privileged to have been able to participate. But Mr. Poinar, he was very demanding, as she said, of excellence, and he had discipline, and we were all better for having performed under him. And it was only after I graduated and started playing with other groups that I think I truly realized and appreciated the great gift that he had given to us. And I, as a cellist, was part of the continuo and was present for most all the rehearsals. And the soloist came and the soloist went, more people came and went, but the continuo never got up out of our seats. We never had a break. And I remember when I go back to my dorm at night, so tired, I would just fall on the bed and sleep with my clothes on. But I loved every minute of it. I wouldn't change it for anything. And I think
you played every note of these. Of course, Patricia, you did too as the accompanist, but as a cellist, you play every note of all these works. It's not, even the violins have to sit out, right? And certainly the woodwinds have to sit out, but you play virtually every note.
Right, went on and on.
These works,
Right.
It's what I would want to do if I got to come back in another life. I would want to be a cellist playing Bach's music.
Oh, good. And and I think at that time, it's when the early days when they started augmenting the orchestra with people from the Cleveland Orchestra. And I think that was maybe the first year they did that. It was St. Matthew Passion. And, with the two choirs, soloist, organ, harpsichord, children's choir and everything. And I was especially grateful because I got to sit with Harry Fuchs and share a stand with him. And at the time he was assistant principal cellist with the Cleveland Orchestra. And then I was able to study with him in the summer. And I have Bach Festival to thank indirectly for my cello, which we purchased from Mr. Fuchs, and I play it to this day. So it goes on and on.
So what's changed? So you've watched and come back to the festival, if not every year, I'm sure many, many years. So what's changed over the years? I mean, what do you really notice being different? Janet, go ahead.
Well, first of all, the animation of the choir that you have. It just seems like we hardly moved a muscle. It just, we were focused and so on. And so that's one of the first visual things that we noticed. And I have a question. I was thinking that every conservatory student, regardless, had to be in the Bach Festival in some way. And Tricia, that was my memory. I do remember a few older people, that were probably not as old as we are now, but at least they were old to us, did join us. And then there was a period when people who had no connection to the conservatory. I have a friend here in Ashland that we come and, when we don't have COVID, we come and watch the Bach Festival. And she and her husband both sang in the choir.
Oh, wow.
Different things. So that was a change somewhere along the way.
Okay, I think in the 82nd Bach Festival, we had the dancers. And that was a new thing for me. I hadn't seen the dancers before. It was Musica Pacifica, I believe, the dancers and the musicians that came, the Baroque players. It was very interesting because, of course, Bach's music, a lot of it was dance music.
For sure.
I found it very interesting. And it was different. It keeps people interested in coming back and learning more, I think.
I was going to say that one of Mr. Poinar's habits, beautiful habits, was to turn to the audience and ask them to sing every one of the chorales. So what avid Bach attendees they were because they knew them. However, they were printed in the program. So he would turn around and we would all sing "Oh Sacred Head" or whatever, and it was a thrilling experience because the entire room was filled with voices. And when the new conductor came, why can't I say his name? Dwight.
Right. Mhm.
Dwight took the chorales at a quick tempo, and everyone's nose was out of joint because they felt that he was not giving it its reverent due, because Mr. Poinar did it in a very devoted, of course, religious, but it was much more somber and seemed to fit the mood of, for instance, the Mass or the Passion.
Talking about doing something different, I had my Bach festival things, programs all bound together. So, but then I was looking through them today, and I remember when I'd sort of forgotten about it. We did the Art of the Fugue, and Mr. Poinar was really into the Art of the Fugue, and we studied that for a year or 9 months, whatever. And it was just a wonderful experience to learn it and to perform it, and that was very special.
When you say the RBI, it brought to mind that Tom Riemenschneider was a classmate of ours. And bless his heart, he's gone now. But obviously he was the grandson of the founder, Albert and Selma. We learned that. And Tom was not a music major. He was pre-med. And he was student council president. And he was BMOC, big man on campus, that sort of thing. So we were always kind of proud to claim the Riemenschneider one in our class. So.
He was a dear man. We sang it, the Motet Choir sang at his funeral, and he is missed to this day.
Yes. Thanks.
Patricia?
Tom and I were children together. He grew up one street apart from me, and we played together. We played kick the can in the field together when we were 7 years old. So we grew up together until we parted and went to college, and he ended up at Baldwin Wallace. But when he came back for the 50th anniversary of the Bach Festival, he followed Dwight, and he followed several of the profs. And he said to me at dinner that evening, which I thought was tremendous, he said, medical school was not as tough as what you musicians do. And I said to him, that's the greatest compliment you could give us, because he said, I now appreciate what goes into this finished product. And he said, I never did. And see, I began studying at the conservatory when I was 3. So Prof. Al would come into my lessons, and I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but he held me on his lap, and I would play a little Bach duet or a little Bach ditty for him. And then he would give me a hug and leave the room. And so I was able to be with the Riemenschneider family all my life. And they were just as you saw them. Tom's brother is really a lovely man too, but Tom stole the spotlight because he had so much personality. And he was president of the fraternity. He was a Lambda Chi. And he just really made it possible for so many things to happen here, as Judy does now, since he's gone. But we also, Prof. Al was a friend of Albert Schweitzer. And so when Dr. Schweitzer came, he brought him here from Africa. And he only wanted to play the little organ that was in the small auditorium. That was his favorite. And, pardon me? Little Holdcamp.
Yep.
Yes. And he didn't play the big one. I didn't see him. He probably did. But he was dressed almost in rags, and he was very unkempt. And none of us got to meet him, to just look at him from afar, because we never, he was so mysterious to all of us. And so, it was such a privilege. But he and Prof. Al were actually friends, and that's how he got him to come over here and hear the festival. I don't know where he sat, because none of us were aware of his presence during the festival, but he did come to some rehearsals and was a dear, humble man. So that was another privilege that went along with being close to the Riemenschneider family.
Gosh, what a legend. And they've all been on our campus. If I list Bach scholars and Bach they've all been here. you know, historical and modern. They've all been here. It's just amazing.
Mhm.
Well, then I have a special treat for you all. I have a surprise for you. I've kept a secret for more than a month now, and I'm really excited about this. So I have a little work to do, so just hold on to your hats for a second, okay? That is, of course, the Gloria from Mass in B minor, at least the beginning of it. And that is your 1955 recording. I know, I was amazed. So when we dreamed this up, I worked with my colleague, Paul Carey, the librarian, and we went into the vault and discovered that we have the vinyl records and it just so happens that they're really your years, like 54, 55, 56. And we had them digitized, and so that we could use them here. And I'll made copies of all of them for you that I'll send to you. I'm amazed by the quality of the music making. It's so good. And the recording is good. And I've listened to all of it now, you know, everything that's there. And I hear exactly what you're talking about with Maestro Poinar. It was exacting, and it's thoughtful, and at a very, very high level. It's really terrific. Really.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. And do you all remember that performance? Patricia, you want to share something?
I remember every performance because my score was written on the bottom for the 4 vocal parts, and then above it were all of the instrumental parts. My book was as tall as I was, and so when he needed the English horn, he would say, Patricia, and she didn't have the same clef that I have, so I had to very, very quickly turn to measure 163 and play measures. So and really was demanding, because I had to read and quickly translate into her key, because it wasn't in the vocal score, which was primarily what we were interested in, the 4 parts. But the instrumentals were all up above in the same score. So it was as if I had an orchestral score in front of me.
Right. God bless you, Patricia. That's some real work.
It was no small task, but he didn't say, okay, I'll give you a few moments to look for that. He'd say, all right, let's start at measure 162. And I'd be furiously going back and then looking up and finding, oh, the G is not on the second line. And then my mind would have to really work to get ready.
Yeah, for sure. My wife would not tolerate that from me. Janet, what are you going to add?
Obviously, I didn't have the orchestral experience that they did, but just hearing that again reminded me that as in the chorus, we were like a wall of sound. That's how I experienced it. And you just felt the movement, the impact of it. That and the Bach trumpets, I'll still call them Bach trumpets, were just so vivid in my memory. And as I go back now, in the last several years and have watched it, it kind of overwhelms you with emotion because, as Jean said, those were very special moments, weeks, Bach Festival week, just of course, with my organ background and Bach, that whole lifelong love of Bach was nurtured and maintained through the festival and everything else. So I too thank you for this opportunity to say thanks to my wonderful Bach education.
It is my honor. Friends, what a remarkable conversation. It's everything I hoped it would be. It is so good to talk to you. We should do this sometime without the interview. I've learned a lot and I've taken some good notes, and I just find it very meaningful, and I thank you for your time sincerely. Please, Jean.
And we thank you. We thank you for all you're doing.
Of
too.
course.
And with the Bach Festival, the orchestra sounds fabulous when you're conducting.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it really does.
Very grateful to you. And this was a wonderful idea for you to have, because people our age don't have a lot of input anymore. And those of us who do have input aren't really listened to very much, even by our own kids. Well, yes, that's nice, Mom, but it's not the same. And yeah. I think it's wonderful of you. I think once COVID is gone, we should all go to lunch, and then we could really knock you out with some details.
That would be great. I would love that. So I hope to see you all at the Town Hall, Bach Festival Town Hall reunion. That's April 17th at 4. And you'll get a lot of information about this in print form in the mail and all that. And everybody that's listening, I hope that you'll join us too. It'll be, you can find more information on conversation.bw.edu. And it's a great time for us all to come together as a community, even though we can't make music together, and to see your old classmates and to see your old teachers and to see your old directors, and really just come together and be with our Bach Festival clan. And until that time, I hope you all stay healthy.
We wish the same for you.
Same.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we thank you for organizing this. It's a lovely thing to do.
It is my pleasure.